Pete Docter, the director of Monsters Incorporated. Welcome to the commentary on the DVD.
Hi, I'm Andy Stanton, and I'm screenwriter and co-executive producer.
Hi, I'm John Lasseter. I'm executive producer.
I'm Lee Unkrich, co-director of Monsters, Inc. And welcome.
Even though Monsters Incorporated is Pixar's fourth film, its origins start back even before their first film, Toy Story. Toy Story was the first computer animated feature film and Pixar's first feature. And Andrew and Pete and I, along with Joe Ramp, developed the story of that.
So one of the things I loved about working on Toy Story was how many friends came up to me and said, "Oh, I totally believed that my toys came to life when I wasn't in the room." And I was looking around for other things like that we all experienced as a kid, and sort of a shared experience. So I knew that monsters lived in my closet and were coming out to scare me at night. So I figured a lot of other people felt that way too. The purpose of the title sequence here is basically to set the tone of the film. Without it, we actually had an earlier version where we start right in on the kid asleep in bed. And it becomes a much more spooky, dark, kind of scary tone that we're laying down. With the title sequence, we're hoping to tell people this is going to be fun, it's going to be colorful and upbeat. G.V. Bodo had designed it and also animated it along with Patrick Seymour.
What we always try to look for at Pixar is an idea, a story, or subject matter that really connects with the audience, that the audience can relate to. We kind of call it our foundation with the audience, something that they go, yeah, I know that, or that happened to me as a kid. But then we show it to them in a way that they've never thought of before.
Growing up, I had this idea that the way animated films were made was that one night Walt would just sit upright in bed and say, "Dumbo." And from that point on, it was just a matter of doing what was in his brain. This is not anywhere near the truth. These films really begin with an idea, and then they change and they grow and they evolve into something stronger and better. So in this film, we boarded and reboarded dozens of scenes, dozens of times, as is the case on all our films. But this one sequence was somewhat of an exception. We boarded it early on. Nate Stanton was one of our top story guys on the show, boarded this, and it was the first in production.
Yeah, this is the very first scene that we animated.
Pretty much unchanged. And his boards matched very closely with it.
Although ironically, while this was the very first scene to go into animation, it was actually the very last scene to pretty much to get completed because we added the whole idea of the monster freaking out and destroying the room kind of at the 11th hour.
Yeah, it was initially that it ended right about here where the monster raises up, the kid screams, the lights went
at this point.
Yeah, and that was it. And what we found was that people were really identifying with the kid. And so we needed something to get back at the monster and turn the tables.
Yeah, and again, it was a way to, like the title sequence, to say, yeah, we just scared you a little bit, but now this is going to be a really funny movie.
Right, so it really reinforces one of the key concepts that monsters are actually scared of kids. This sequence here was a real bugger. We must have recorded it like 80 times. We even changed it again after we'd finished animating it.
It was really hard to set up this world without being too expositional. This is a world no one's ever seen before.